What was your biggest, or smallest, epiphany that dramatically changed your mindset? Master Sergeant Mullin once told me, I'd rather answer a stupid question than fix a stupid mistake. Made me realize, I've been getting mad at the wrong people. It's other people's job to tell you no, not yours. See a job application that you're not sure you have enough experience for? Apply anyway, and let them tell you you're not qualified. Think your writing or your artwork is bad? Put it out there anyway, and let the audience tell you whether they like it or not. Think that guy across the bar is hot but probably out of your league? Go up and chat to him anyway and let him tell you he's not interested. Take the rejection, learn how to improve, and do better next time. Don't negotiate against yourself, because you'll lose every time. Don't negotiate against yourself, because you'll lose every time. Dang. Thank you. You can't make people love or like you. As obvious as that sounds, the way it was said to me when I talked about how hard I worked in a relationship or friendship really got me to realize that sometimes people will just not be in your life long. For real, I'm a junior in college and a friend I've had since elementary. I noticed recently that I'm the one that's always initiating hangouts and talking to him. He doesn't take interest in the things I do. So, I just stopped trying for a bit. Haven't heard from him since. It hurts, but it's for the best. You don't have to say yes to everyone on everything. It isn't sustainable. You actually become a better person and friend when you are more discerning. True. People respect you more when you set a boundary, too. If you live to be old, the family you are born with is not the same family you die with. I know it is obvious, but it hit me when my grandfather died. It made me appreciate everyone older and younger in my family more. I just lost another cousin this year, and yeah, this resonates. I've been working at a gas station for the last 6 months doing overnights. I had to train a guy for a few days before he went to a store about to have their grand opening. He was pretty new to everything, but the whole time I was working there I guess I got into bad habits that would scrape by, and I'd always do the bare minimum to not get bitched at. I still haven't gotten any kind of good job or anything from my boss, but after training that guy and seeing his work ethic I started to try to emulate it. If he can get all the crap done I do and do it better, then there's no reason I shouldn't be doing it too. So thanks for making me a better employee, Shark. If it wasn't for you I wouldn't have made it to assistant manager. Assistants to the manager. You can either be crushed under it or get over it. Really helps me when I start spiraling over stuff or dwelling on things that happened in the past. I needed this. How little difference the opinions of people, namely classmates and such, make in the end. Helped me to stop worrying so much about what others think of me and be the person I want to be instead. Classmates are a bunch of people you have to spend time with for a short and ultimately not very important part of your life. Qualifications are the only thing that matters about your time at school. Everything else will be forgotten 5 minutes after you walk out that door for the last time. That when others succeed, it doesn't mean my chance of succeeding is robbed from me. Helped me stop being toxic in my friendships and genuinely celebrate the successes of others. I think a lot of gifted kids get discouraged when they become teenagers for this reason. In elementary school there are on average 23 kids in your class. Top 10% means best or second best. So you build your identity on being the best. Then you're a middle schooler and there are 30 kids out of 300 who are better than you. In adulthood it's 750 million. That my parents are just regular people doing the best they can. They make mistakes, sometimes make bad judgment calls, but all in all being a parent is learning process and they had to learn like anyone else. Once I realized that, my appreciation for everything they ever did shot through the roof. It made me look at all adults in a completely new light. Most goals come gradually. You aren't going to get abs by working out for one day. You won't learn to play an instrument in one day, etc. I struggled this because I learned some things incredibly fast, and then I hated myself if I didn't learn just as fast. I would say that I should be able to. Should can be a very hurtful word. It is just the last ingredient in the acid to melt away self-esteem. Instead of constantly regretting my past, remembering that sometimes in life you got to just say shoulder colder welder and move along. I always use what's done is done and cannot be undone. It's okay to not be happy. I was raised to always smile and pretend like everything was great so that everyone else would be comfortable. Not acting happy and pleasant and agreeable wasn't even an option. I just have it where I don't need to be happy, just not negative. The hardest rules to break are the ones you set yourself. I learned that the hard, painful, regretful, and stupid way. My old age health was, for the parts I can control, going to be determined by whether I looked after myself now. I started eating healthily, lost 40 kilograms, started running etc, and at 51 I am the healthiest I have been in years with good blood pressure, cholesterol and health. Been keeping it up for 3 years come December. Good for you. That I am my body. I feel like I'm just my head, but once you fully realize you are your entire body, it kind of changes how you feel inside. Something super small that changed my life was realizing that I don't have to hang out with people that I don't want to hang out with. I have social anxiety, so I'd often force myself to see people I didn't necessarily want to see just for the sake of putting myself out there, but I am so much happier not doing that anymore. When you're introverted or have social anxiety, it can be hard to tell if you genuinely don't like the person or if you're just being antisocial. I became a lot happier when I realized that too. When I was a kid, I thought the sole purpose of art was to try to be as realistic as possible. Every movie or painting or sculpture I saw was judged solely by how realistic it was. Then when I was 12, I found myself watching Akira Kurosawa's Dreams. I don't know what prompted me to do that. The first sequence involves a child running off into the forest to watch a fox wedding. Kurosawa really built up the mystery, having them slowly emerge from the fog, etc. I couldn't wait to see what kind of cool special effects he would use to make some realistic foxes, and what emerged from the fog were a bunch of people in kimonos and ceramic fox masks. I was ready to start ridiculing the movie for being fake and dumb when it suddenly hit me. He wasn't trying to make the foxes realistic. It was the first time I ever understood how expressive art can be, and it flipped my world upside down. That it's important to cultivate the ability to genuinely not care what others think of us. It's not easy, but life gets much better when you can achieve it. I haven't fully mastered it, but I'm getting better at it. Whenever I cringe or something about something I've done, I try to think about memories where I've cringed about something other people have done, and there are only a few memories that come to mind during my 30-year-old life. So in other words, whatever stupid crap I've done in the past, I'm probably the only one who remembers it, so there's no need for me to worry about it. My family's mantra is you have to make your own good time. I never understood it until I was an adult and people were giving my brothers and me dirty looks as we laughed at the DMV. I started to realize that crappy situations are usually caused by crappy attitudes and not the other way around. Yeah, real crap. We spend too much time worrying about what other people think, to the point in which we sacrifice our own happiness just to please them. Frick no, thanks. As long as it doesn't bother anyone, I don't care. Holding resentment is allowing the person to have control over the quality of your life. Events that happen to you in your life are out of your control, and just simply are what they are. It's the stories you tell yourself about the events that matter. Tell yourself stories that will serve you in your life. Today is the youngest I will ever be. Again, sounds kind of wonky, but it convinced me to get in the gym and lose the weight. It also made me stop putting things off like travel and experiencing new things. Walking into AA 5 years ago, after walking out 13 years before that, and saying I'm an alcoholic and really believing it, it was like a huge weight lifted from shoulders, and I haven't been drunk since. Good job, man. Following a religion does not make someone a better person than anyone else. After I stepped away from the religion my parents desperately wanted me to keep, I realized I had all sorts of incorrect ideas about everything, including but not limited to how to be a person, how to interact with friends, how to have a good marriage, and how to be sincerely nice to others regardless of how we think differently. It's almost like people choose how they will act. As you said, though, it's also true the other direction. People can be saints or asswipes. It doesn't matter if they are religious or not. No one is coming to help you. You can't count on anyone but yourself. No matter how many friends and family you have, and no matter how close you are to them, at some point, You are going to need them and they won't be there. A few years ago, my 60-something aunt told 22-year me that I am not capable of making adult decisions because I don't have an adult brain. This was right around the time my mom died, and my family had spent the last 9 months telling me that I wasn't handling her illness properly, that I wasn't there for her. She told me repeatedly she didn't want me to come to doctor's appointments and that I was to focus on work and not worry about coming to visit her, etc. So of course I took what my aunt said and internalized it and spent the next 2 years beating myself up constantly anytime I made a small mistake or acted goofy, anything that I felt wasn't being an adult. Well, last month, I was thinking about it, and I just went, why am I letting what she said affect me? My aunt is a raging bee, always has been and always will be. I am perfectly capable of making adult decisions and I do so every day. I won't beat myself up about it anymore. 100% chance your mom would have wanted you to act goofy all the time. Moms love that crap. Source: mom. That I can do whatever I want. I was in a pickle once and had the idea that there really was only one option, the one society gave me. A friend simply said I didn't have to go with that option. In that moment everything changed. I saw the world with so many other options. I was trying to explain this to a friend who was about to enter into a marriage he had realized he didn't want. He felt that things had gone too far. This was a couple of nights before the ceremony, and now he had to go through with it to avoid embarrassment, disappointing people, etc. It was hard to watch. It's a minor one, but once I was staring at a half moon during the daytime and all of a sudden I saw it as a ball rather than a flat circle. It was like it had just popped out of 2D. I've never looked at it the same way since. I experienced this same thing the first time I looked through a telescope. I'm pretty sure this is on a pin that you can get in Walmart or something. Life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. I always dismissed it as one of those inspirational quotes that don't mean anything. But after coming face to face with the things that scare me the most, and having the opportunity to do something about it, this is the realest crap. If you don't like something about your life, you have the power to do something about it. It all starts with you. Things are not obligated to work out cosmically. Everyone has always told me that it gets better, but it doesn't have to, and that's okay too. I enjoy knowing this as well. People always say, you will find love someday, but I am also okay with me not finding love. Kind of like how everything is beautiful. I don't mind not being beautiful and find it annoying when people call me as such. Ugly things are valuable too. I realize that nothing that we do matters at the end of the day. We all die. There's no reason to be nervous. No reason to be scared to talk to someone or pick up the phone. No reason to feel embarrassed. Just enjoy your life and don't worry about things that don't really matter. The realization that every person has an individual history that has formed how they think and act. It helped me develop my ability to be empathetic. Extremely helpful as an EMT dealing with people who are having the worst days of their lives. There's a word for that I learned recently, sonder. That no matter how hard I work, my boss will always want more. Not because she thinks I'm capable of more, but because her salary directly benefits from my work. While I stay at the same pay, I am the only one that will take care of myself, so I demand weekends or vacation days, regardless of what the boss wants. This company has a horrible culture, and while I make the best of it, it's not changing, so it's time to move on. This sounds exactly like being in the military, lol. I went to a therapist the other day because I have started having panic attacks. After talking for a couple hours, I've realized I've never liked school through bullying and isolation, and at a given time I've never had more than a dozen friends and maybe a handful of genuine good friends. It has changed my perspective in school and my thoughts of even going to college. I've always lacked motivation for school and hated going, but now I have a genuine reason why, not just a simpleton teen angst. That I would never hang out with anyone who talked to me the way I talk to myself. And if I ever saw someone talk that way to my friends, I'd be them out. Shouldn't I be my own friend? Shouldn't I treat myself at least as well as I would an acquaintance? All things end. It sounds like a downer, but it's helped me come to terms with stuff from my past and helped me appreciate what I have right now. You never realize how much you miss a friend until they're gone. Knowing that one day I won't see them again, through death or ambivalence, makes me value the time I have with them. Interpersonal relationships are the foundation for happiness and success in life. Wallowing in self-pity and burning bridges because it's more convenient than facing my problems is not conducive to anything meaningful. I'm 10x happier now that I actively work on my relationships instead of letting them wither away. It's never too late to rebuild. Forgive. You'll never know until you try. Figure out what no one else wants to do, then do that. It is worth noting there are caveats to that statement, but ultimately it is true. You don't have to be friends with friends of your friends. This sounds stupid, but it was revolutionary to me. I cut off contact with an incredibly toxic friend I'd been putting up with just to keep the peace between them and another mutual friend who was close with both of us. You know what happened? Nothing. I no longer have to put up with their drama, and our mutual friend is no longer stressed about both of us. Such a simple fix. Over the course of 1 year, my sister died from cancer at 40 and mother at 59. My epiphany was that life is short. Do whatever you want. You might be really lucky to get 40 healthy adult years. You want to go see the pyramids? Go. You want to go to Rome? Do it. You want to buy a guitar and try and learn? Nobody is stopping you. Your ticket can be punched at any moment. Money is the one stopping most people. Some people tie their entire identity to a single belief, or a collection of related beliefs, whether it's religion, politics, their weight or looks. Those people cannot be argued with because anything you say is a personal attack, regardless of how valid your point is. That it's okay to do a job that isn't your dream job. In fact, the dream job probably doesn't exist. It's totally cool to go to work and do stuff that doesn't fulfill your soul or make the world a better place. Work is there to pay you money. Once you stop thinking about your job as the be all and end all, you can start channeling energy into stuff that does make you really happy, whether that's art or music or helping people or whatever makes you tick. And you don't have to worry about whether it pays the bills or not. I spent way too long thinking that my career was who I was, when actually it's only a little part of me. 8 hours a day doesn't seem a little part for me. We only live once. We shouldn't lose 1/3 of our life to something we are not enjoying, even if it pays the bills. Someone told me to stop playing the victim and to start being responsible. I was failing my education. My study coach had 5 minutes to talk to me. It became an hour. He had a class to give. It changed me completely. Started being proactive. Changed my views on my work ethic and eventually finished. Then continued and currently in my final internship. That's amazing. Congrats. That eating food in lieu of throwing it away, like the food my kid left on his plate, was treating my body as the trash can. This also goes for eating past the point of being full. It dawned on me one day that when I chose to eat it rather than throw it away, that I was equating myself to the trash can. It really was a life-changing moment. I think, for me, how I approach relationships that crashed and burned. I had an awakening moment one day trying to find out what is wrong with me, and I just said to myself, you try to be a good person and a good boyfriend. You aren't perfect and that's okay. You are comfortable with who you are. Sometimes other people have their own reasons for dumping you, and sometimes there just isn't a reason that will ever be good enough or a reason at all. And that's okay. 3 months later I met the woman who ended up being my wife. Do things one at a time. Multitasking is a myth, and 99% of the time you freak up trying to do multiple tasks at once. I wasn't actually this horrible guy who didn't care about people's emotions. I was just being drained by emotional vampires around me and had nothing left to give them, so they abused me. I'm actually a really fun and loving guy who deserves fun and love from someone as much as I give it. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.